ready for the good time?
Are you ready for the good time?
Definitely.
So, is the mic ready to go?
Anybody just popping up the border, like what's happened recently? Like, I might not be a fan of non-European immigration, but I still can't have any qualms with it because it's legal. Came here legally. I can't
Adrien, salut. On se parle souvent. Ouais, on s'est parlé souvent sur Facebook.
Okay, because I think Facebook, that was 2.5.
even if they're not closing off the borders, there's still you can say yes, they are seeing
Ça va, ça vient hier, on était à
pretty much like the bags. It's not, doesn't exactly say go.
But what about the fact that
Welcome, Patriots, to day 2 of Canadians for Canada rally.
it helps Canada's reputation?
Yesterday we drew a decent crowd.
I mean, I guess
I'm a little disappointed, to be totally honest. We had confirmation that looked like we should have had an attendance of over 1,000 people.
how are you supposed
But in the last 24 hours, as usual, my phone went crazy with excuses. Everything from the kitchen sink being blocked to can't find a ride. Fact is, we've been announcing this rally for 8 months now. So the excuses are getting a little long. Fact of the matter is, our country's in jeopardy.
Yep.
And until people actually take an active stance to try to save this beautiful country, it won't be saved. We've got a Prime Minister Trudeau, that's totally forgotten about his citizens and has become a self-serving dictator. Not to mention a groper, which makes him not only a criminal that he should have been charged for, but he's a hypocrite and a pervert. And this is what we have leading our country. We have Trump overseas that actually donates his salary, and he works for free. Our Prime Minister's voted himself a raise. Already a wealthy man, he needed a raise. Fact is, he could work for this country for free, like our neighbor. But no, he's going to break ties, and he's going to injure our trade agreements with our biggest customer south of the border. He's put our borders in jeopardy. The United States has expressed concern that Islam and ISIS may be setting up camp in Canada and someday may threaten the border between our two great nations. So I'm disappointed to see that not more Canadians are standing up. I understand that it's a big sacrifice to come out and spend an afternoon on a hot, blistering day listening to politics. But fact of the matter is, if you don't do it, your country and your children are in jeopardy.
Yeah.
So I'd like to read our mission statement, what Canadian Combat Coalition stands for. Canadian Combat Coalition C3 is a non-profit, multicultural group of Canadian patriots concerned with Canada's future in all respects. We create a platform for speakers and all patriot groups to help provide awareness concerning political and security measures implemented by the Canadian government. We stand for freedom of speech and our Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. We believe in Canadians first. We support our military and veterans. We oppose mass immigration, open borders, New World Order, and Sharia law. We are against the persecution and mistreatment of women, children, and animals. We will not stand for female genital mutilation, also known as FGM, child slavery, honor killings, or any political ideologies that do. We believe that refugees and immigrants should integrate into our society by following Canadian laws and values. We pledge to combat foreign and domestic threats within our country. We stand on guard for thee. We welcome all Canadians to join us in creating and influencing positive change for a great and stronger Canada. We are C3. Woo! So we ask that our Prime Minister close our borders and start obeying our laws. Because fact of the matter, when people cross the border illegally, they've broken federal law and should not be compensated, but rather deported.
Yeah.
Stop giving our money away to countries and people that clearly hate us. Our debt is over $1 trillion. Canada does not have to save the world. We should look after Canadians first and help others within our means. There are Canadians sleeping on our streets. There's 17 or so Canadians that died in Toronto of exposure, and yet we're letting in immigrants that have not contributed 1 penny to our economy, but yet are compensated and housed and fed. This is costing Canadian taxpayers millions. And I'd like to see Trudeau stop taxing us to death. He likes to let the prices raise on everything. The fuel prices are really high. That raises the prices on everything. So they collect more taxes, and that's what it's about. And I'm not crazy about him giving himself raises. And stop groping women, Mr. Trudeau. Like I've noticed, mass immigration is not a positive thing. It dilutes the host culture. And if you don't believe that, ask our First Nations how mass immigration worked out for them. Now second-class citizens in what used to be their country. So without any further ado, I'm going to introduce someone that needs literally no introduction, a vet, someone that we owe much gratitude to, Collin, Saunders.
Right on. Thanks a lot. And thanks for supporting our troops. It was about 5 months ago, we actually stood in this very spot protesting our government. And we stood for a lot of the same things. We stood for freedom, free speech. It's quite something that our current government, and I say current because hopefully we're going to be a way of the past soon enough. However, they talk about our freedom, yet they come up with legislation like Bill C-71, an act to amend the Firearms Act. Nothing in that act addresses criminals, gangs, gang activity, and in fact, once you read the legislation, all it talks about is further rules and regulations which just targets law-abiding gun owners once again. So once again, patchwork politics.
Right.
It's all optics. They're just trying to make it look like they're doing something. Right? But if they really wanted to fight gangs and criminals, they would have started at the very beginning of their mandate, and they would have given the police the money that they require to fight gangs and criminals. So they want to impose all these extra laws on law-abiding gun owners. But I ask you, Mayor of Toronto, how's that working out for you?
Yeah.
Right?
That's right.
And if that wasn't bad enough, what did they do? Bill C-75. They tried to table that one the day before Easter. The day before Easter, when they knew the House had risen, a lot of the MPs would be going home early because it was a holiday and they wanted to be with their families. What's Bill C-75 about? It's an act to amend the justice system. In their words, they're going to modernize the justice system. They're trying to reduce wait times for court. But really, would any Canadian support something as simple as basically they took serious crimes and they made them summary convictions. Illegal importation and possession of a firearm used to be 10 years. 2 years less a day now.
How does that help the crime rate?
How is that helping the crime rate? It's not. It's not.
It's networking.
It's all optics. They're trying to make it appear that they're doing something off the backs of law-abiding Canadians. That's what's going on here, right? Meanwhile, criminals are getting a short ride through jail. It's a revolving door, and out they go again. Reducing the punitive measures that they had before to act as a deterrent for future crime, right? So today, we stand here, I'm proud to stand here with a bunch of real Canadians that stand up for real values. Proud Canadians. Right? Proud Canadians.
Yes, sir.
Well, I have hope. I haven't lost hope. I really think we can take back our Canada. It's really sad that the very first thing they tried to do was water down our national anthem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very disgraceful. And, you know, in terms of our veterans, are we really asking for too much?
No.
Our veterans fought for our freedoms. How much is a leg worth?
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
price.
There's no price. How many more veterans have to take their own life because of their inaction? That's called willful neglect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? You're not only responsible for what you do, but you are also responsible for what you fail to do. And they have failed to take care of our veterans. They've failed to take care of our citizens. They're not fiscally responsible. That skating rink,
Yeah. Yeah. What a joke.
Shame.
the rubber duck they rented,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Seamus O'Regan, okay?
Yeah.
He was talking about setting up a virtual center of excellence for our veterans. Let me ask Seamus this. Is that what they did for him when he went to rehab? Did he do it through some virtual thing or an online thing? No. We need therapy and we need real faces. Sometimes it's hard enough to get out of the house as a veteran, right?
Yeah.
And I'm really sad. It saddens me every time I hear that we've lost another one. Melfaquin.
I blame Trudeau.
You know what? Leadership always starts at the top. It doesn't start at the bottom. When we want change, we have to change our leadership.
Time is now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Time is now.
The time is now. So I wanted to say thank you for supporting our troops. Thanks for supporting veterans. Thanks for Combat Coalition, Canadian Combat Coalition, sorry. They've supported us when we had our protests and continue to support us. And I wanted to say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
You're very, very welcome, Colin. An awesome patriot and an awesome spokesman and representative for our Canadian vets and our military. Because let's face it, why does our government have millions to give away all over the world but can't support our vets? These people have lost limbs, lost lives, and lost their way of life. You know what it's like to go to war and leave your family behind? To leave your children behind, your wife, and to go and put your life in jeopardy for your country? Has anybody ever stopped to think about that? It's the ultimate sacrifice. And these people deserve respect and compensation, to say the least. We must support our veterans and our military, and we must support our retired. After all, these people are the ones that have contributed these funds that this liberal government is squandering away. So I'm going to say it again, I'm disappointed that not more than this amount of people care about this country. If you say you care, you're going to have to make sacrifices and effort. Freedom does not come for free.
They do care.
And freedom
It's just-
isn't cheap. Freedom has cost some people their lives. That's how important freedom is. When people are willing to sacrifice life and limb and family and their lives for their country, they deserve respect and compensation. Fact. And this Liberal government has fallen behind the 8 ball and is supporting every Tom, Dick, and Harry on the planet, including people that clearly hate us, before supporting their own citizens. Trudeau must go. And with that said, I'd like to introduce Steven Garvey, an awesome patriot, and he's got a few words to say.
I'm gonna have water with me today. My throat got so dry yesterday, I barely speak. I want to thank Dan Dubois and Canadian Combat Coalition. The National Citizens Alliance is fully aligned with what they stand for. And like any organization, they go through bumps along the way, same with us. But the important thing is we stay true to our values, true to our veterans, true to our people. And that's the most important thing. And we're steadfast. I'm going to look at the bigger picture today. I encourage everyone to try and, if this challenges you, just try and think outside the box. The reality we're facing in Canada is that for 150 years, there's been the same 2 parties in power. Everything we have today is a result of those 2 parties. The National Citizens Alliance believes that this is a monopoly on power in Canada. It's a monopoly. Since post-World War II, there's been a globalist agenda that's been being implemented on the Canadian people, and it's progressing every year. And it doesn't matter, it crosses party lines. And it really amped up in the 1970s under Pierre Trudeau when he declared our country multicultural. And then Mulroney came in and brought affirmative action, and he brought the Canadian Multiculturalism Act, which promotes and enhances foreign cultures in Canada. There's been mass immigration since the 90s under Mulroney, the Liberals, Harper even, 280,000 plus a year from 2005 to 2015. Under Trudeau, it stepped up. But mistake not, there is a Privy Council. It's a shadow government. They're made up of all those parties in Ottawa. They shadow Trudeau, they shadow Harper, they shadow other PMs. To think it's only Trudeau calling the shots, you are deceived. I'm telling you, you are deceived. He's just a globalist puppet up there. He stringed a corporate globalist